Honourable Chief Guest, Ashadul Islam, Senior Secretary, Financial Institutions Division, Ministry of Finance. Honourable Chair, Moinuddin Abdullah, Managing Director, PKSF. My colleague and I hope future friend, Maurizio Chan, Head of Cooperation of the European Union. Golan Mola, Deputy Managing Director, PKSF. Distinguished guests, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It's a real pleasure to be with you for the launch of the piloting under the Pathways to Prosperity for Extremely Poor People, and it's always good to see a website launch that happens right to plan with one click. A big thanks to PKSF for organising this, and what a fascinating set of presentations. I want to start with a celebration. Bangladesh has made stunningly good economic growth and impressive human development gains over the last decade. We know this. Annual GDP growth has been over 6%. Obviously, we know how vulnerable Bangladesh is to climate change, with 10 million people each year affected by both climate and extreme weather, which may or may not be climate related. And of course, the density of the population, and much as family planning has delivered enormous gains, growth is continuing. So economic growth alone, spectacular as it is and has been, is not enough to tackle poverty and reduce these shocks and stresses, particularly to eliminate the inequality gap that we know is growing and to address the enormous geographic disparity that we've heard about. Economic growth will, of course, continue to reduce extreme poverty over the coming decade, but the link between growth and poverty reduction is likely to weaken as the economy struggles to create the new jobs required for the over 2 million people entering the labour force each year, and as growth in rural wages, particularly, potentially slows down. This means that a growing number of people may be left behind, and development gains eroded or reversed. And the shift that you highlighted this morning from economic freedom to human dignity resonates very well with all of us, I'm sure. Bangladesh is not sitting still, though, in the face of these challenges. They're responding with zeal and a real desire to cooperate with all of us in the room. Vision 2021 provides the roadmap for accelerated growth and sets down the approaches we need. The 7th five-year plan included a much stronger focus on extreme poverty than before, particularly in those lagging districts where I know many of us are focused. The National Social Security Strategy is going to reinforce the social protection sector spread across 16 line ministries. That's a serious level of ambition. And of course, the government is now formulating the 8th five-year plan. This is a country awash with plans. The UK will continue to support Bangladesh on its positive trajectory of growth and poverty reduction so that it can graduate and, we hope, achieve the majority perhaps of the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. The political commitment is evident, but plans don't always withstand first contact with these challenges or the enemy. We will focus our efforts from DFID on those who are most excluded, marginalised, vulnerable and at risk of being left behind. We heard about the multidimensional nature of poverty here and the essential nature of a holistic, multidimensional approach to respond to it. And this is what DFID is trying to evolve in terms of integrated pathways out of poverty. We have a decade's global experience of graduation out of extreme poverty, and it gives me a certain amount of pleasure to say that much of that learning has come from Bangladesh that we then translate to other countries where we work. Our previous 4 programmes here in Bangladesh delivered significant results, and I'm always slightly wary of listing results, A, because they get a bit boring, but B, because when you talk about 2 million people, you can forget what 2 million people look like if they were all standing up in front of us. Individual lives, individual families, communities. But over 2 million people have graduated out of extreme poverty. That's a huge result. 2 million people benefiting from cash and asset transfer programmes, those goats and cows and ducks and chickens, and over 825,000 children under 5 and pregnant women benefiting from better nutrition. We know there is 35-36% stunting still in Bangladesh, and that handicaps children for life. We know that. We need to tackle this on a life cycle approach. So we in DFID has evolved the model for our new programming, in particular bringing fresh technical features, addressing the barriers that stop the poorest people pulling themselves out of poverty, making it more cost effective. We are answerable to our taxpayers and our members of parliament, and ensuring that it is sustained long after DFID and potentially other development partners eventually leave Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not an aid-dependent country, and so we should be very cognizant of that and working with the government, with the people, with the NGOs to put in place systems where we can help. PPEPP, shorthand, is an example of this evolution in action, a second-generation livelihoods graduation programme. I won't repeat what it's going to deliver, we know that. I think we all end up with the same speechwriters. We know the areas it's going to focus on. But 3 I would just particularly pick out. The policy advocacy to ensure government develops policies that are inclusive of the needs of the extreme poor. It's very exciting having economic growth at 6 to 8%, but we mustn't lose sight, I know nobody in this room would be, of that 21 million. They cannot afford to fall further and further behind the bottom rung of the ladder. More disaster management and resilience interventions, climate-related, but also the cyclone, monsoon, earthquake, drought, flooding issues, and testing with government these life cycle grants and social protection approaches for the extremely poor. I was very glad to hear about targeting as well, because with such very large numbers, it's easy to get the targeting wrong and to find that money, resources, attention, effort is going to those who actually don't need it and don't fall into that extreme poor bracket. So making sure we're piloting and getting that right would be essential. The Bhaban Foundation is one of the programme's obviously 3 big implementing partners, notwithstanding all the range of NGOs who are doing the hard work, delivering these core livelihoods, nutrition and community mobilisation components, as well as the complementary interventions around climate resilience building and value chain development. DFID really values its long-standing relationship with PKSF, and its identity and mandate provide the basis for our partnership with the government on this programme and offer, we believe, the best prospect for sustainability. We've made real progress in just a few months since the inception phase started, and I would like to thank everybody for their hard work so far. We believe there's a real convergence for we the UK, I hope the EU feels similarly, between the government's policy, PKSF's people-centred development approach and the UK aid priorities for which we are answerable. This programme is very well positioned to make a significant contribution to progress against the 7th and now 8th 5-year plans, the National Social Security Strategy and the Sustainable Development Goals, and we will stand closely alongside you as we deliver against our shared objectives. Thank you all. On it, Bhaban.